Good evening, everybody. This is your host, Hughes Pop from the Hughes Pop Wrestling Podcast. Tonight, we are blessed to have two guys from the SCW. They are two lawyers from the SCW. Their faction is called the Punitive Damage. Welcome to the show, Warren and Eric Schultz. How you guys doing tonight?
All right. Thanks for having us, Scott.
Thank you for coming on. Eric, doesn't he let you talk at all? I mean, what's going on?
Maybe. Warren, he's not my wife or my husband. It's Warren Freiberg. And I'm Eric Schultz, but no, yeah, we're doing just good. Pleased to be here, brother.
Thank you. So, I'm just curious. I mean, I know where I started as a fan of wrestling. Can you guys go through what it was like with a fan, what you used to watch, who your favorites were?
Sure, you want to go ahead, Freiberg?
Yeah, so I started watching in the early 90s. I remember watching a little bit 90, 91, but it was a couple of years later I really got into it. The main guy I always liked was Undertaker. I was a huge Undertaker fan, starting from the early 90s. And, it was great that I could just keep watching him until a couple of years ago, like Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels. And then when you had the Monday Night Wars, got into the NWO, and then you had Stone Cold and The Rock. So I mean, I was a pretty traditional '90s fan. Pretty much all the big names at that point got me into wrestling.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say pretty similarly. It was 1998, and it was all kind of a mix of like getting WCW NWO World Tour for the Nintendo 64. And I was playing that game before I even knew kind of what wrestling was. So that's what got me interested in kind of what was on TV. Right. And then my brother, who's 10 years older than me, was always into pro wrestling. He was in like the Hogan Warrior era. And then so Attitude Era is when kind of the, Hogan or the Stone Cold Rock era. But yeah, I remember my first pay-per-view was WCW NWO Sold Out 1998 when Kevin Nash kind of botched the jackknife on Big Show. And so I was just after that, I remember being in fourth grade and the next day just telling everybody in class about it. And it was just so cool. And it's been kind of interested in ever since.
Okay. So now were you guys WWE guys, WCW guys more, or both?
I was more WWE, except for like that, brief period 96 to 98 when like the NWO was huge. But other than that, pretty much always WWE.
Okay.
Well, I agree. Yeah, like in 98, I think it was almost 50-50. It was just like it. And I remember also on Monday nights doing the classic flipping back and forth between Raw and Nitro. Yeah. And so we would do that. So, but all that to say, it just seemed like WWF was a little bit cooler, right, among the boys. So I kind of leaned a little bit more towards WWF.
Okay. So, do you watch mainstream stuff now? Do you watch WWE?
Yeah, I mean, I watch a little bit more now. Lately, I think it's been getting a little bit more interesting lately. Last couple of years, I was kind of losing my interest. The main product was a little dry for me, or any kind of televised product for that matter. But then when AEW started, that was kind of interesting. And then, now I feel like I'm watching. I'm a little bit more interested in knowing what's going on nowadays.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm saying more WWE. Every now and then I watch a little bit of AEW, but there's just not as much there that's really catching my attention as WWE, and I pay more attention to a lot of indie stuff now than I used to.
Absolutely. You guys acknowledge the Tribal Chief?
Yeah.
I
like
them. I'm not a fan of him, but I also like you can't kind of deny how well he's been built up, So,
right. So
I mean,
I like him much better as a heel. Never like babyface Roman.
I think 3 years ago, at a pay-per-view when he came through that locker room door, and there sat Paul Heyman, and that's when he turned heel. I'm like, yeah, that's what's up.
Hands down, that was the right decision for sure. No one
Absolutely
would dispute that.
So we have Dave Sadler in here. What's up, Doris? Whoever that is.
No idea.
But hey, so I gotta ask this question. It's more of a trick question than anything, but it's along the WCW era. Who's the greatest WCW champion of all time?
I would say Flair.
Greatest WCW champion of all time. That's a tough one. I go back to just like when I watched, and I'll say this. Maybe we'll say I'll make it controversial. No, I can't. I don't want to say that one. Never mind. That's a tough question, man. Who knows? Maybe we'll say Nash just to be cool. I just want to give a cool name.
Well, I'm going to give you a better name, David Arquette.
Well, I wasn't going to say that one, but you got me beat. You got me beat.
Better than Russo. I'll give you that.
There you go.
Good call, boys.
So, as you guys are on different paths, obviously, different lives and stuff. When did you decide that? Yep, that's what I'm going to be a pro wrestler. Mm-hmm. And when did you go? And what training camp did you seek out when you did that?
Yeah, I'll jump in. So for me, it was 2019, because as much as I was into the televised product, I never really checked out the independent scene. I was never into it until about 2019. Then I thought, you know what? Why don't I go check out one of these local shows? And I got a buddy to go with me, and it was the very first one I went to. And I was like, oh man, this looks like some fun, again, because to watch the televised product, you think, well, those are, it's like watching an NFL game and thinking, oh, I can get out there and do that. It's like, obviously you couldn't, these are machines of men, of athletes, and they're just, they're specimens. And, but when you go to an indie show, it's like, oh, they do a little more theater, a little bit more character driven. And so it's like this, and it looked like a lot of fun. So that's kind of what it was for me by the end of 2019.
Okay.
So for me, it's something I thought about a lot over the years. And I just had a lot of things going on, college and law school. And at one point I was over 400 pounds, and I got COVID in 2020 and had a little bit of a health scare, diabetic, really high blood pressure. And so 2021 was spent losing a lot of weight. And after about a year, when I got under 300 pounds, which was first time I'd done that since high school, about 20 years ago, I was feeling pretty good. And I started thinking, is there anything I'd missed out on or anything that I really wanted to try?
Right.
And the one thing I kept coming back to was, I was watching pro wrestling. I always thought about it. Actually, one of the things that influenced me, if you've seen that David Arquette documentary where he started training in his 40s after a heart attack, and I was kind of thinking, I think I could do this. I want to give it a shot. And I got lucky, when I was asking around, because I wasn't going to indie shows at the time. I had met this guy one time. I saw him on Facebook. He's posting pictures. He's in a ring, and I said, "Hey, what is this? How do I get involved?" And he introduced me to SCW.
Awesome.
Yeah. I to just jump in. So sorry. I had started, just to make mention of it, I had started training. I forgot the other part of the question, but I had started training with CSW, which was Chicago style wrestling, and that's up in River Grove. I do currently train with Southland, SCW, but that's where I started, was up closer to the city with Chicago style before I went down to Southland.
Right. I was going to save a question about Southland, training in Southland and stuff like that, but I'll ask that now since we're talking about training. What keeps you guys, both of you guys, motivated and going? Because I hear that you guys both bust your ass and get that training center as much as you can. So what motivates you with the busy lives that you have?
For me, it's something that I really wanted to do, and I kind of got this second chance, getting in shape later in life. I mean, I didn't step into a wrestling ring until I was 37 years old, which is really old for anybody to just start training. So it's just that I have this opportunity now to do this. It's not something I'm going to be able to do forever. So I want to work as hard as I can and take it as far as I can. So, if I'm having kind of an off day, I'm feeling kind of tired, it's like, no, this is the time to do it. This is what you always thought about doing. And I'll force myself to go in there and work.
Yeah. It's I think too, just I got in a little late, not quite as late as Freiberg. I was 32 when I started, but still, I think the idea is, again, to compare yourself to someone else's a skill set or ability or even physique or anything like that is kind of a, really not something you ought to do. It's really just about comparing yourself to yourself. And if I can see myself from 2 years ago, and I'm doing better than that from 2 years ago, then I think that's really what it's all about. It's just kind of landing on your own moon, so to speak. And yeah, it's been actually just seeing the results, if I can put them over my phrase there, but just, I'm sincerely though, just to kind of see like the little bit, even just a little progression I've made. Again, may not be even that noticeable to anybody else, but I notice it, because I'm living with it. So, and that's been really fun and encouraging and motivating. So
awesome. So we hear that phrase, it's fake, it's fake, it's fake. Talk to us about how not fake taking a bump is, and not just in training alone. Talk about that.
Well, let's see. What are some of the? I mean, I've thankfully never been seriously injured, but God, taking a little off punch from an MMA fighter one time. That was fun. Did something to my abdomen. I thought I had a hernia, but it seems to just be a minor tear or sprain or whatever. I got something going on with my knee right now. But luckily that's nothing major. The one thing I always say that I think is weird is, people think, oh, are you going to get really hurt, taking a suplex or body slam or something, off the middle rope or the top rope. Luckily never had any issues with that. And then the weird thing is, some of the most hurt I've ever had is you just hit a tag wrong, and yeah, so it hurts, and there's a lot of guys. I know Schultz probably seen them at CSW too. Usually they're younger, they're in their 20s. They come in there like a house on fire. I got all these ideas. I got this great gimmick, and then they try taking a bump or two, and you never see them again. And that's probably half the guys who I've seen come through SCW in the last 2 years.
Mm. Yeah, it's as far as this, kind of the F word in wrestling goes, it's obviously, well, the thing I always like to say, and the story I always like to tell is like, if I was in line to see a movie, if we were all in line to see like a new Marvel movie, it would be strange for me to go up to the people in line and go, hey, that's not really Robert Downey Jr. flying around in an Iron Man suit, right?
Right.
You guys know that, right? Oh, you know that? Why are you still watching it? Well, obviously people know that. They know that it's, a production, but nonetheless, it's entertaining. And so, there's still theater and entertainment to be had. And in this case, still physicality, like a lot of stunts, because obviously, like you said, to take a slam or a bump isn't fake. Technically, by definition, that's not fake. It's a real bump, and you're really, slamming your body down. But yeah, so that's just, I've always figured that, like, I don't know what people think, like that people don't know that or something, or I don't know. I don't know. I don't get what that Dave Schultz clapped was all about.
I think there's still this weird misconception. People think the ring is like 5 inches of padding or something like that. Like it's like it's slammed on a bed. It is not. It is definitely not.
I was just at a promotion down here. I'll talk about independent promotions. I live in Panhandle, Florida, and you don't get much wrestling down here. And I've seen an ad for a XIW Extreme Impact Wrestling over in Panama City with Adrian Whisper, Damian Wayne, Bordell Walker, Jackson Slade, some of those guys. And I got there early enough because I'm a wrestling junkie. I get there early enough, and they're setting up the ring. And the pad, they talk about the pad being, people think the pad's 5 inches thick. Them damn 2x4, the 8x10s, they're that thick, on a metal frame, and this thick of a pad. And I'm like, heck no, I'm not going to do that, And I got the experience, and then you talked about the emotions put into a independent wrestling show compared to the main stage. You guys in the independent scene, I got to give you guys props, because you guys go out there, bust your butt day in and day out, put on a good show, and it's real. It just feels real. You know what I'm saying? I watch your shows on YouTube, and it just feels like, oh my God, it's real. You don't have to ask whether you guys do whatever you do. You don't have to say, is that real? Because it looks so real. You guys, so I praise to you guys at the independent scene. You guys knock it off the charts, and I'm more of an indie guy than to be honest with you, I thought last night's Royal Rumble sucked. I thought it was horrible.
I've heard that a lot. I'm hearing that a lot, actually.
And I haven't seen it yet, but that's what I've heard.
And then you go to independent scene show, and you're like, oh my, you guys do stuff out there that I'm like, what? So, anyways, but no, so I get that. No, there's no way it's fake. The best analogy somebody ever gave me was an ice skating analogy. He goes, in dual ice skating, you have a partner, and you have this scripted thing. You go around, you guys skate around, and you throw her up. And if you don't catch her, she's gonna get hurt.
Sure.
Yeah.
So your job is to catch her, just like you guys work together, and you guys is to put. Yeah. So, anyways, I hate that question. Is it fake? I don't. So punitive damage. What inspired you to create the faction Punitive Damage and join each other as a faction in SCW?
Well, so actually, there were three of us before Eric joined up, and so when I was still going through the training, our promoter, he's like, well, you can manage, you can definitely talk. I got these two heels, the Sheik and VIP, and I want to put you here with them. And I think you can learn a lot from the Sheik. So we're kind of doing that for a few months. I'm the lawyer. I'm the mouthpiece, and I think we were about 3-4 months into that, and Eric started coming to training, and the first thing Hunter said was, "What am I going to do with two lawyers?" I was like, well, why don't you have them team up with us? And that was kind of the punitive damages gelling to what we are right now with the two of us and the Sheik.
Okay.
That's right. Yeah. I'm sorry. I was just saying, I remember that. I remember. And he was asking, or I should say our trainer was asking me if I could do anything else. He's like, well, you got any other characters? Are you interested in even doing a new character? And I said, well, I've been kind of cooking this one for a few years now. I'm not really that interested because that was his thing. But then Chris said, let's just combine, which makes a lot of sense. And the other thing too is, because some of the guys in that particular faction were a little newer, and not that I'm some seasoned veteran, but I just had a few years in. And just that was kind of nice too, just to be able to kind of come in and have just a few more years of experience. Like I said, certainly not a veteran by any stretch, but that made for a good pairing as well.
Yeah. So, how does each of your styles complement each other during your ring time?
Well, we've tagged a couple times. We haven't really gone after the tag titles or anything like that. I think in the ring we've now especially when we're ringside, like last night we had these title matches. I think we're much better about taking each other's cues, planning things out, how we want to do that. I think just in terms of promos, we're really coming together. That's always been something we've worked really well together with.
Yeah, I agree. I think Chris said, a mouthful there, literally, that he is very comfortable and very confident working the mic. And I've trained with, I've had a few training sessions with WWE guys, and they've said, in this business of professional wrestling will always be second. And the ability to be entertaining will always be number one. And so, if you can be good on the mic, that's a very special skill that a lot of people don't have. And even the biggest athletes or the biggest bodybuilders or the most skilled athletes, may not necessarily possess that ability. And so, so it's cool that Chris is so good and so confident on the mic. I enjoy getting on the mic too. And so that's just kind of been one of the fun things too about pro wrestling is it lends itself so well to just kind of getting on and talking to the crowd and kind of working them that way. So that's been a lot of fun.
Okay. I'm going to save the other questions about you guys as a faction together because it's going to tie right into what happened last night. So I'm going to get the kid questions out of the way. That we're going to talk about fans and then we're going to get into, okay. So Kid questions. I take care of 8 kids, and they gave me a bunch of questions last night at dinner.
Oh, I love it.
Each of you, what's your favorite food?
Sushi.
Ooh, I like boneless chicken wings, dripping in sauce.
All right. So does pineapple belong on pizza?
No, absolutely not.
No.
What was your What would be your character in a movie?
Depends on the movie, I suppose.
Like who would play us, or
what character would you be? I guess the question was, what character would you be and superpower would you use? I just read it again. In the ring, in the wrestling ring.
From a movie?
Any movie.
Okay. That's interesting. I'll tell you, I'll answer for just to get it moving here. I would be Sub-Zero from Mortal Kombat. Because then I mean, you saw how well Sub-Zero did in Mortal Kombat, just hit him once, you're done.
I would want Spider-Man's powers because obviously that helped him beat Macho Man.
Well said. You mean Bonesaw, Freiberg?
Yeah, Bonesaw.
What's your favorite color?
I like black. I'm boring. I like black.
I'm just gonna say green.
Who's your best friend in the business?
I'd have to say probably Vargas. Me and Vargas have been hitting it off because we're both from the same town, sat at the same lunch table freshman year in high school.
All right.
There's this guy Tommy Gunn. Talked to him quite a bit. He's a trainee referee we got in SCW.
Great attitude too. We like Tommy.
Yeah.
What's your favorite potato chip?
Salt and vinegar.
Okay. Yeah, I don't really eat potato chips anymore.
I mean, neither do I.
Yeah. Right. You're quick to the point with salt and vinegar. So I bet you don't eat those potato chips. I don't know why this question's asked, but they wanted me to ask it. What is the first thing you do when you get out of bed?
Check my phone.
Okay.
Yeah, first thing to do.
Check emails and Facebook and Instagram, all that stuff.
All right.
Usually I have to tie up my hair or retie my hair because I have a lot of it and it's a mess.
Okay. Favorite TV show?
Simpsons.
Yeah. Of all time, Simpsons. Yeah, like seasons 2 through 11.
Okay. And what's your favorite sports team?
Sports. The Chicago Cubs.
I mean, of all time, Bulls, but that's based mainly on the 90s. Nothing they've done since about 98, 99.
We had something to be proud of in the 90s, and it was the Chicago Bulls.
Yeah, that was really what's special. Nothing since.
All right. Cool. That wraps up that part. So how do you connect with your fans, and how important are fans to you guys in the business?
I mean, the fans are everything because ultimately you want to get a reaction. Babyface heel, that's what it's all about. I think it's a little bit different. I mean, I've always worked heel, and I think Eric, you've always worked heel too, right?
Yes. I mean, with one or two rare exceptions, majority time heel, yes.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm always cordial to people before after a show when I'm talking to them.
Yeah.
But if anything, I try and keep a distance and actually just try and be a dick to them when I'm out there. I'm trying to pick on people, rub it in their face. I'm so great, that type of thing. So I mean, that's typically my relationship with fans.
Yeah, I was thinking about, it's funny how there are certain fans that, the fans in general are one thing, but then the particular fans that, that I would actually consider a fan of you or of me as opposed to just wrestling or the particular promotion I'm at. Those are fun too, because then they'll have they'll give you a gift. And by gift, I mean, it's a note. And it's kind of nice. And I got a little folder for my 8x10s. I just put those notes in my folder. And so that's kind of fun. And that's always been special, which is actually, like Chris was saying, kind of interesting because we usually work heel. So usually we're supposed to be hated, but that's kind of the nature of post internet,
Right.
You kind of, you turn it on, turn it off.
Right. So I got a fan, Rick DeSanto in here is one of my friends. He's like, where's SCW based out of? And is there TV? So if you guys want to answer that.
So right now we're running our Vance, Illinois, which is near Kankakee, and we'll have a Kankakee, Illinois show in March. That's going to be a bigger venue called the Majestic. You can find us on YouTube every Thursday. Currently on the Southland Championship Wrestling page, we're posting about an hour of content from the most recent show. You can also follow the Facebook page; things get reposted on there as well.
So they also have they have High Voltage, which is like an NXT, where the guys that aren't ready for the main show, I don't know, get to showcase their talents and get them some ring time, so that they, so
yeah. The High Voltage is, I mean, I'd even say that's a good point. It's a pre-show and just kind of gives the fans something to do while they're coming in and getting or something to look at rather while they're coming in and getting situated, and ultimately repetition for a wrestler or a worker is one of the best things about, is one of the best things you can do to get better, is just to get reps in. So if it's a pre-show match in front of 5 people, or if it's a main event match at a hot promotion from hundreds or 1,000, it's still good to get a match in. It's still good to kind of to be game speed, take it seriously, get a match in. And so, like, I even got to wrestle a little bit on our High Voltage show last night, and like I said, it was just nice to go out there and have a match. And it's another, it's another tally mark, it's another repetition, and another match that just kind of goes and helps you, even if it's only 0.5%, just a slow progression.
Now you guys, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I actually think most of our fans are showing up for High Voltage at this point, because that was just over the last year or so. We started doing it as a pre-show. It used to be something that would just run out of the training center a few times a year. So that it does seem that it's actually become quite successful.
Yeah.
Awesome. So Rick says he runs a site, ProWrestlingWire.com, and do a lot of indie coverage and events. And we have a TV guide on our page. So
do it.
Let's talk about brotherhood in the business and paying it back. What does that mean to you guys?
Eric, yeah.
Sure. So brotherhood of business. Yeah, I can start this one. But brotherhood, it's just, I will say that, I mean, when you're working together to produce something like a show like that, or even if you're working together in training and you're all doing the same thing, there obviously, like any brotherhood, like a band of brothers, I don't want to compare it necessarily to being in the same like infantry unit or platoon in a war, but the idea is, I even remember going to camp and just, you meet kids for a week you never met before, but you spend that week together, and for whatever reason, because you're in that time together, you build a little bit of a brotherhood, and you build friendships, and you create bonds, and that's kind of and that's special. And like I said, it's we have that in common. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, SCW, I've heard different things about different promotions, but SCW in particular, it's a very low drama promotion. Everybody there is very chill. We all get along very well. We're all watching out for each other and taking care of each other. I think, I've had guys, they ask me legal questions and things like that, and I know I needed anything, I could ask them. In terms of, paying it forward, I think the vets there have been very, very good about that. They'll put over the younger guys if that's what's best for what we're doing, the story, what's going forward there. I mean, I've seen that in particular in a number of guys. It's happened to me a couple times. A couple other guys that are coming up. So I think you know, you kind of hear those horror stories that really came out of WCW in the 90s that, you know, that doesn't work for me, brother. Hogan was never going to lose.
Yeah.
At least in SCW right now. I think there's a very good philosophy of doing everything you can to help guys and give them advice and push everybody as far as they can be, because, you know, we're not all going to WWE or AEW. It's never been my plan. I know I'm way too old for that, but anything we can all contribute to the guys who can reach that level, I think we're going to do.
Awesome. So I'm now going to try to intermingle what happened last night in SCW and some other questions about your guys' faction. But Warren, I got a question for you. What would you like to say your thoughts and opinions of one guy named the Apex?
The Apex, wow. Well, Apex is a very, very impressive guy. He started training almost a year after I started. Legit MMA fighter, very, very accomplished in that realm. Worked with him several times. I've seen it. Other guys have seen it. Even though he's been in the business for about a year, he wrestles like somebody who's been doing this 5 or 6 years, and I think he's got a bright future ahead of him.
Okay. So, with that said, back in September, were you afraid to go face to face against the Apex at the Battle Royal? And if so, is that why you had to low blow him to win before losing to ref Tommy? Is that why?
You know, it's all about understanding the rules of the game, and the great thing about a Battle Royal is that there really are no rules. And so when the opportunity arose, he had hit me with his finisher, that ripcord spear, and that's what had to be done to win that match, or I thought I was going to win that match. That's what I was going to do.
Yeah. Hey, Warren, I felt like he was kind of leading the question there a little bit, you know.
But so why then does it appear, even in last night, right? Why does it appear that you can't win a match without help from others? And this is, now I see this on the YouTube channel when I'm watching. I hear about it. I'm just asking the questions because that's who I am. They call me Huge Pop the Pot Steward. But so let's talk about that. Why do you think you have to? Why does it appear that you can't win it by yourself?
I can win it by myself, because at the end of the day, it's me pitting the other guy. But being a lawyer, I will always massage the rules and take advantage of the situation. I don't need these other people to win. I'm very accomplished in the ring myself, but if the opportunity arises, I'm going to take advantage of everything I can to win.
Did you hear that, Eric?
That's what lawyers do.
Did you hear what he said? Did you hear what he said, Eric?
You know, because I think it's humanly possible to build a house by yourself. But why would you do that when you could get others to help you and get it done faster? You know, it seems silly.
But he just said he didn't need your help. He doesn't need you. That's what he said.
I think he's working smart, not necessarily working hard.
Okay. But your guys are avoiding the question because he said he did not need you. So if you're a part of the faction, the punitive damages, and your guy up there, the champion, I guess you want to call him, of the NXT version of SCW, he doesn't need you, but yet it appeared that he needed you last night to win that belt.
Yeah, like I said, you know, Freiberg has his sights on that high voltage championship, which we were able to acquire last night. And the idea is we can't all technically hold the belt, that one belt. So maybe we get Sheiky his championship title. We get Schultze his championship title. Freiberg has his championship title. And we all work together to all become champions, each in our different title. So, like I said, as a group, does he need me to win high voltage? Maybe not. But together, we're stronger than we are apart, you know?
So do you have a title?
No.
Okay, so
Almost had one last night.
Friedberg, but was Friedberg out there to help you almost win that
He
title?
was, yeah. We had a little bit of a miscue. It wasn't for lack of trying, but there was a bit of a miscue, and unfortunately, even though we were able to reobtain the high voltage championship for punitive damages, we were unable to get that Steam Hollow Brewmaster championship that I was gunning for. But they tell me next time, and where am I? What am I left with? I wonder
why that miscue happened. I wonder why that miscue happened.
Why did them? I don't know.
I was there at ringside in the ring at one point trying to help Schultz. We both could have walked out of Arctic Takedown with titles. Schultz did not want my help for whatever reason.
Is that true, Schultz? You didn't want his help? I have a hard time believing that you didn't want his help.
It's not that I wanted help. Trust me, we're stronger together. It was just I had disqualified myself in the first part in the high voltage part of the night, and I did not want to have to see that happen again because this was a singles match against me and Mulligan. It wasn't a gauntlet, so I knew Freiberg was still going to come out and be legal for his portion of that gauntlet match. But in this singles match, it was like, hey, I can't risk getting disqualified and then just losing the shot altogether. We needed to kind of be a little bit smart. And before I could even communicate that to him, Mulligan pushes me into him. I get distracted. Freiberg flies out of the ring, and it just all kind of went downhill from there.
It seems like there's a little bit of cracks in this faction somewhere, somehow. And I think I think Apex is right. You're afraid of the Apex. You guys if that was in the back of your mind.
I saw that. I see that he said that. Well, any foundation of any mansion, a mansion even, is going to need some repairs. You're going to need to do some maintenance. And so that's what we've done. We've reconvened, and we're talking, and we're going to, address certain issues. Right, Chris?
I have my title. I said that was priority number one. And after your little whatever last night, I told you next time we will get you a title.
See, he avoided that question. You see that, Eric? He avoided that question.
Well, like a true lawyer, after law, Freiberg, I think maybe politics is.
I've always said I'd be an amazing president.
The way you or the White House press secretary. I mean, the way you can kind of dodge
just like Jesse Ventura, run for governor first, win that, but I'll take it all the way.
There you go.
Second ever WWE Hall of Famer president. That's my goal.
So do you believe that you are the biggest heel faction in the business, or is it sabotage?
It's us.
Yeah. We saw Sabotage lose the heavyweight title last night. So yeah, they still have the tag titles, but maybe we will go for those.
We haven't once. We haven't even once gone for them. We should try for them, and I'll bet if we did, we would swoop those up too. I would say this: I won't embarrass anybody. And ask you to name me 2 members of Sabotage because I don't think most people could. But but what I'm saying is, I think if you ask any Southland Championship Wrestling fan who the biggest, who they the faction that they dislike the most, I promise you it's going to be Punitive Damages.
So Apex is saying that SCC is coming for that spot.
STC, you know what? Apex is a kid at the toy chest, and he's playing make believe. All right, this is reality.
Apex would need a partner, as far as I know. He's a solo act right now, and Schultz and I are right here. We're ready to go. Give us the tag title shot.
Well, maybe a few hiccups every now and again, but generally there has been good synergy with us. But hopefully we can maintain that, not see. We can, like I said, Chris, maybe at the next meeting, the next Punitive Damages meeting, we can address some of these miscues because
we'll talk.
My shoulder is feeling a little naked. I'd like, I'd like to have some championship gold.
Like I said,
by all means, you had that shot last night. By all means, you had that shot last night, but your partner up here, unlike
there's two more belts. There's two more belts there.
Unlike you helping him get that belt, he decided to bail on you and leave you standing.
I see what's happening here. You're very clearly trying to get a rise and cause some dissension among the ranks with punitive damages. And I'm seeing right through you, and I won't give you the satisfaction, sir.
Okay. So I wrote this. The Sheik is the number 1 client of the punitive damage, and mind you, he's not here, obviously.
Yes.
What do you say? Why is it about the money, or what is
100%.
it?
Yeah, Sheik pays us great. He's a Sheik.
He's got that oil money. He's got antiquities from the richest families of the 5 richest kings of Saudi Arabia.
So I can't help but think, Freiberg, that somewhere down the road soon, money talks to Eric for sure. Somewhere down the road, do you feel that Eric and Sheik are going to turn on you, or have you already turned on them? By the way, with getting that championship belt.
The Sheik pays us both. I've seen the receipts. I don't think there is any reason that anyone would be turning on that. Now, as lawyers, sometimes we disagree on things, but it's all about finding that common ground. So we maybe have a little bit of a disagreement that I have a book belt and Eric does not. But we are going to keep talking. And I think we will come to a resolution that ultimately all sides are pleased with.
So do you count on your partners all the time, or can you win a belt by yourself?
Sure, I won it by myself last night. It was a gauntlet match, but ultimately it was a singles match, and this is my second time winning the high voltage title. The first time I didn't have Eric or the Sheik out there with me.
Good point.
Okay, so what's eluding you from winning the big belt? Why did you have to go back to the NXT version of SCW to win a belt? Couldn't you get it done on the main roster?
Well, there was some unfinished business there with Turtle. I was displeased with the circumstances that he took that belt off of me, and Travis T, the booker of High Voltage. I felt that he was very unfair to me, and when I asked him very nicely for an immediate rematch, he said he denied that, and he kept messing with me. He kept saying, well, it was going to be sometime in 2024. So Eric went to court or pulled some strings. I don't know how he did it. There's an NDA. We can't go into too many details. But the fact of the matter is, we started 2024, got the rematch, and I am High Voltage champion again, which is what really matters.
Yeah.
What really matters, right? Did you hear that, Eric? What really matters? Okay. I'm just wanting you to hear.
We may be in the same group, but we also have our individual aspirations and goals.
Okay. As long as you're clear, as long as you're good with that. So talk to us about what this non-disclosure clause and how did he get to this into this gauntlet match? This non-disclosure clause.
I think the very nature of an NDA means I can't really go into it. Needless to say, we had we had, like any good group, we were on the same page. Read The Art of War by the General Sun Tzu. All battles are won before they're ever fought. So we had a game plan, and far be it from me to divulge what that game plan is. A good magician doesn't reveal his secrets.
I'm not asking you to reveal your secrets. I'm just saying.
You know what happened is you said I need punitive damages to win. Well, sometimes they're a liability. And in December, I lost a match because of something that Eric did when he hit me over the head with his briefcase. So sometimes punitive damages can cost me a match. And after that, I said, Eric, enough is enough. You need to make this up to me. And one way or another, you are going to get me a High Voltage title shot. He worked his magic. It's very clear that he and Travis T cannot go into details, but we had the rematch. It ended up being a gauntlet match, and like I said, most importantly, I am high voltage champion again.
There that statement is again, Eric. And I gotta say, Eric to me appears through this conversation appears to be a team player. As the guy above is self-oriented.
He's a team player that got me my belt. I mean, that's like I said, what is important here.
Apex says it right. I smell dysfunction in the punitive damage.
There,
So I gotta applaud you, Eric. I gotta applaud you, man. You're a team player. I get that. You took one for the team, or what you think is the team, and there's your guy above. Always is saying it's what I deserve. You said that 3 times in this conference last 10 minutes. What I deserve, right? I
was just gonna say that's fair. I see where you're going. I see where you're going with this. I apologize, but yeah, I mean, I think maybe there could be some more, especially now that the high voltage championship is back with Freiburg. Maybe now we can just kind of put that aside and maybe focus a little bit on Schultz. I don't know. Like I said, we'll have to discuss that. Freiburg may indeed be still focused. I don't mean to speak for you. You may indeed still be focused on now that you have the belt, you can still be focused on just defending it or maintaining it or establishing a long and prestigious reign with the high voltage belt. And I also kind of resent the implication that the high voltage belt is somehow substandard as compared to the quote big belts, as you put it, because it's championship gold. And if it's championship gold, I don't care if you wear it on your ring, your ear, or around your waist, it belongs in punitive damages.
Fair. Okay.
I mean, I've met guys who have been in the business for 7-8 years and never won any belt at all. So
that's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
But soon we gotta get me one, Freiburg. We gotta get me one. I'm
like
hungry.
You said, number
I'm
one.
Hungry.
Now we need to focus
on
keeping this belt as long as possible, and I expect to have another long reign here, and then we'll have a little bit of time to get you a belt.
That box has been checked. Now it's time for Schultz.
See, he's more about Schultz. It's more about keeping what Schultz was given to him by or helped get, and protecting that, because that's what he just said, right? He said, focus on me getting it and protecting it. Then maybe we'll think about talking about you, Eric.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna have to. Well, maybe we need to realign or reassess the nature of our association, or at least the nature of our goals, and just kind of maybe make some calibrations as it were. I
guess my question to you, Schultz, is why do you think it takes? Why do you have to do the dirty work, all the dirty work for Warren up there? Why
do I have to? Well, the first thing that comes to my mind is if you want something done, you have to do it yourself. And it's like we agreed as a group. I thought we were on the same page. We're gonna get gold, and we're gonna do that together, like the Three Musketeers. One for all for one. So we get Chris his championship title. We kind of stumbled at the finish line at getting me my championship title. Sheik sits on gold. He has all kinds of gold. That's why he's the money man. We can get him a championship as well. But right now, it's about figuring out how we can get Schultz back in a title shot situation, be it that Brewmaster, soon to be Lawmaster championship title, or the Genesis title, or hey, maybe James Creed. I come in and take that don't get too used to it, is all I'm saying. Don't get too used to that Southland Championship heavyweight championship title, because maybe Eric Schultz is coming for it. Who knows?
We got a good question by Apex again as well. When's VIP coming back?
Who's VIP?
I own the rights to VIP, and we might see VIP back.
Well,
one day soon.
Stay tuned on a Sunday in February. You'll see VIP because he'll be on my podcast. See, I don't play favorites, right? I just ask the questions, and I do have to say,
back in time to have this interview.
No.
Okay.
He should not legally be using that name.
Okay. Yeah. Let us know when that's happening because we could probably draw up some
I think you're going to have the artist formerly known as VIP on your show.
Thank you, Freiberg. Thank you. Well said.
VIP is too fast and furious. You guys can't keep up with them.
Toretto, as I believe the name goes.
I don't know Donovan Toretto, but VIP is my legal property.
No.
So
maybe I'll go for that next.
Hey, we can put that on anybody else too. Maybe we just find somebody at the training center sometime and just assign them that name. And
I could be VIP if I want. I could change my name. Schultz, you could be VIP.
That's not the title I was looking for. I was looking for a championship title, but Rack and Tour is a good title. Maybe a very important person is a good title too. Who knows?
I couldn't help but notice what you said, Schultz. When he asked that last question about dirty work. You said it. I think it was similar to. I probably won't get it right paraphrasing it, but it might get in some legal trouble. But I don't care. You said someone has to take charge to get it done, and it's you. So what you're basically saying is your champ up here, Freeberg, couldn't do it. So you had to step in to make sure shit got done right.
Mm.
And even if it wasn't to your benefit.
Mm. Well, like I said, the goal of Punitive Damage as a faction as a group is to have every one of our members wearing some kind of belt.
Well,
and again, if I see my my compatriot in need of assistance, and I know that I can help out, why not? And I know that they would do the same for me. And if they don't, if they trip up like what happened last night,
right?
Then I'm at their mercy. We're gonna have to try again, but or maybe just reevaluate our goals, or reevaluate the hierarchy within the group, which is something we've never really talked about, which could be maybe a pain point, but also maybe it could strengthen us. I don't know.
Right.
I don't think we need to talk about rearranging the hierarchy.
Well,
I like the hierarchy just how it is.
We'll schedule a meeting. Let's just schedule a meeting with Cheeky.
I don't think we need to talk about that.
See,
what do you think? If you had to rank, let me ask Freiberg a question. If you had to rank the members of Punitive Damages 1 through 3, how would you rank them?
I mean, there's me, and then that's between you and Cheek.
Okay.
See, he can't even say your name. He can't even put you in a
spot. Yeah, it's weird. But he put himself at the top. He put yourself at the top, didn't you?
One with the belt.
Yeah.
So clearly, I am number 1, and
okay.
You and Cheek.
This is good. This has been. I don't even feel like this is an interview so much as it's like counseling. Now I feel like we're in like marriage counseling, and things are coming out. And that
it's an interview.
Look, it was a trick question. The logical answer is that the champion is number 1.
You know what it is? It's all this gotcha journalism that we're being subjected to here.
Yeah.
I'm just, based on watching the YouTube channel, hearing what happened last night, watching it a little bit on the Facebook, I'm just putting 2 and 2 together, and it seems to me that you do all the dirty work, Eric, and Warren just sits back and collects the gold, and then he's bragging that. Then he can't even put you at 2.
We all do dirty work.
But see, he can't even put you at. He can't even put you at number 2. He said the exact.
He didn't put me at 3. That was a very good legal loophole. He kind of left it vague.
Well, he didn't put you at number 2 either. He didn't put you at number 2 either. So
I had to put myself at. I think I had to put myself at number 1, and then I can have, and then Freiberg and Cheeky can kind of debate.
Maybe when you get a belt down the line, you can maybe be number 1. Maybe, but you gotta get a belt.
This cat's got claws.
So Freiberg, when would you offer this guy up a championship match?
Yeah, it's a good question.
He deserves it. Actually, he's the one that was the reason why you got the belt last night. So when does this young man have a shot at your title?
Oh, my title. I mean, there's no reason for Eric to have a shot at my title. We don't need to do that. But there are 3 other singles belts. There are the tag belts. There's even the women's belt. There's certain loopholes. Maybe he could even get a shot at that. I don't know.
That's right. But who's the women's champion? I don't pay attention.
Angel.
Ooh,
there's
maybe
fear,
yes.
There's fear in your champ's voice.
I could see maybe gunning for the
so we know how to get title shots. We've had plenty of title shots, so it's just a matter of time until Eric gets another one, and we will get him one of those other belts.
Okay, it'll be between you two. But I watch enough of your YouTube stuff. I play once a week on. I do watch-alongs with it on the YouTube channel. Warren, you seem to be very feisty, self-centered, and belligerent in your promos, so to speak, with the rest of your group. Schultz, how does that make you feel?
I think anybody who's confident, any man especially who's confident, is usually accused of being self-centered and arrogant when really they're just very sure of themselves. And I'm speaking from experience. So Warren, again, his priorities might be a little bit self-centered. But don't make no mistake, he's not arrogant. He's just a confident man, just like me.
Okay. That's how lawyers are.
So I'm going to reference the tribal chief.
Okay.
Roman Reigns. All right.
Oh, Roman Reigns. I see.
Championship belt got to his head. And it caused friction in between amongst the family.
I see.
Roman Reigns is sitting right above you, all selfish with that belt, having his bloodline do the work to eventually crumble. And when that happens, come WrestleMania 40, and he loses to Cody Rhodes, he's going to have no members at his side. First question is for Freeberg. Are you ready for that? And second, Eric, don't you see the similarities? The championship belt got to his head, his arrogance, his crumbling. What's it going to do? What is it going to do to you and Sheik going forward? Do you trust him after all? He wasn't there to have your back last night. What's that look like going forth in the SCW?
Well, I think like I said from the start, I'm a Roman Reigns fan. He doesn't necessarily need other people to win. He just understands how the rules work, which is it is what we do as well. So I wouldn't say that Roman Reigns is going to win that or lose that title anytime soon. I don't think I'm going to lose my title anytime soon. And the big difference between the bloodline and punitive damages is families fight and screw each other all the time. What unites punitive damages is money. And as long as the money and the gold is there, we're going to be just fine.
And to my part, actually, I didn't realize until you were saying it, but yeah, there are actually some good comparisons to punitive damages and the bloodline and what's going on there, in that there are some members of the faction who seem to be kind of directing all of the attention, all of the focus on themselves, and the other members of the faction are just kind of ancillary members or supportive members. And that's where I think maybe we need to have a discussion about the hierarchy of the faction. And if it's not what I want to hear, then maybe there's going to be some other kind of conversations that I may not want to have, but I'm hoping that's not going to be the case. That's not going to be the case.
You say that, and I want to ask you, because you have those feelings, is that why it appeared that you were reluctant to congratulate Freiberg last night when he won his big fight, when he won his title? Is there some animosity? Is there some reluctance? Why were you reluctant?
My hesitation, reluctance. I feel like when Freiberg won, I thought I was pretty excited. I mean, because for me, like the A-team, I love it when a good plan comes together, and that's what we had planned. was to bring the high voltage championship back. I didn't even say back, if you'll notice. I didn't say back on or with Eric Schultz. I'm going to win that high voltage championship. I said we're going to win that. I said the high voltage championship is coming back to Punitive Damages. All right. Now, the reluctance, the hesitation, or a little bit of the, I guess the bad attitude came after I lost my match. Naturally, emotions were high, and I was a little hot. And like I said, hopefully we can avoid that in the future.
I mean, we're approaching the end of the show, but I just want to reiterate what happened last night, which affected you and Eric Schultz, champion and Eric Schultz, right? In regards to the title that Warren won last night, the question is, again, we're going to revisit this. Why does it have to always be centered around you, Mr. Freiberg?
Why does it always have to be?
That's a very good question.
Around me? Well, I almost hate to use this comparison, but look at the Shield. Seth Rollins was the architect of the Shield, so that was something that really did have to ultimately be about him. Now, I mean, I don't want Punitive Damages to end up like the Shield did, but when I am the architect of Punitive Damages, well, to some extent, it does have to revolve around me. When I built this, and I am the most successful member to date. Now we'll get belts for other members, but for now, I have to be the priority. All groups need a leader, and that's just what I am.
So what I hear you saying is you're more superior than those two other guys?
I didn't say I was superior. I just said that I am the leader. I am the rainmaker of our little law firm here. So yes, I am a step above the rest, because when everyone has listened to me, I have been successful, and thus the group has been successful.
Well, the way I see it is, moving forward, there are two paths for Punitive Damages. There's the path of let's be a team where the whole is greater than the sum of its parts, or there's the path where we're too individualistic, and someone like, I won't name any names, but maybe one in the group could Beyonce their way out of the group and just kind of leave the other two like jet engines of a rocket ship that just kind of fall away once they hit the space, and leave the atmosphere. So I'm hoping we can maintain a team, because Freiberg and I can be a good tag team. We can, along with Sheik's funding and his backing, we can be a force to be reckoned with. He's the steak, the substance, the nutrition. I'm the sizzle. Okay. I'm kind of what keeps things interesting, so to speak. That's why I got the bedazzles on my collar and on the suspenders. That's the steak and the sizzle. That's a good pairing. But if he wants to Beyonce his way out of the group, then I can't help but take exception to that.
So you're talking Sheik Beyonce in his way out of the group?
Yeah, I could totally see Sheik Beyonceing his way. No, Sheik is our money man.
So you're talking so you're referencing Beyonce to your champ.
I might have been referencing the only one.
So what I hear, hey champ. So what I hear him say is they don't need you.
They don't need me.
I didn't say that. You're putting words in your mouth.
No,
Your Honor, where's the judge? Your Honor, he said, Sheik has the money, he has the skills, and this other guy needs to Beyonce his way out of their faction. I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm hoping that is what will not happen. I say, let's stay a team. Freiberg, I think. Maybe
that worked out pretty well for Beyonce in the end. So I'm not sure if that's the best comparison to make there.
Yeah. See? And then I'm going to be stuck like Kelly Rowland, just making gospel albums.
There you go.
Unbelievable.
But, guys, it's been real. So I'm going to give you guys each a minute or so to air your differences. who you got to shout out? Do you have anybody you want to shout out to? Say, hey, who's next? I know VIP is going to be on the show in a couple of weeks. You have anything to say to Hunter Payne? Anything to say to Apex? Then we'll close the show, and don't go anywhere. I'll talk to you guys in the green room. I don't care who's first.
Well, I guess I'll go ahead and start.
I mean, you're the one that doesn't have the belt. I mean, I guess so.
Might as well, right?
Yeah.
But looking to the future, I feel like I kind of already said it, but just to put a bow on it, my hope is that Punitive Damages can go forward as a team instead of individuals looking out after or being more interested in their own personal goals and objectives.
Well said.
Yeah, Punitive Damages, I expect this will be a big year for us in 2024. We've already got one belt, and I think more will come here in the future.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm hoping for.
Forward to it, and a long reign with my belt in particular.
Huge Pop Wrestling fans, I would pay attention to SCW. You can check SCW out once a month as we do a watch along of their events, where you're going to see Mr. Arrogant Champion, Mr. Freiberg, hopefully keep his belt. But if I have a feeling if Eric Schultz and the Sheik have something to do with it, that won't happen. I see some animosity in the group. I see a split coming up. I think there's some weak areas, which is
speculating,
which is caused by
objection,
which is caused by arrogancy, which is caused by selfishness, which is caused by everything that Freiberg has said he is without saying those words. When you refer to yourself as the champion, the one that matters, the guy, and then we leave Freiberg, or then we leave Schultz down here, who basically won the belt for Freiberg last night, and then when he needed help, Freiberg was nowhere around to help him, and it was over. Because why? Because the champion is selfish. But fans, pay attention to SCW. There's more guests to come, like the famous at VIP. Anna, before we go, Anna Zane, these douches. Anybody want to respond to that?
That's an inside joke we have.
Okay.
She actually really loves me.
She does, just like the champion up there does, right?
No, he's a douche.
She loves us.
He's a douche. Okay.
Maybe she'll join us one day.
Ooh.
If she's lucky.
Well, I gotta say, guys, keep in tune to us to Huge Pop Wrestling Podcast as we do weekly shows with SCW. Maybe these guys will come face to face on a Friday night face off when it's time for Eric Schultz to take off the belt off of the champion here. Because I have a feeling that's coming really soon. So
don't tempt me. Stop tempting me. You
champion. You better continue going to the gym and eating your training and eating your vitamins, because Eric Schultz down here is coming for you. I have a feeling. SCW fans, thank you guys for watching.
My noodle arms.
There you go. And I've kicked both of their asses, she says. So, anyways,
it's actually true.
Thank you, everybody, for joining in the podcast. Thank you, Champion Freiberg and Eric Schultz, for joining in. I wish she could have been here. I would have been curious to what the guy that doesn't say anything has to say. But I appreciate you guys. I appreciate her, SCW, and don't go anywhere. Thank you, Huge Pop fans. We love you.
All my dogs, make some noise up in this house. Who is in the house? Who is in the house? It's the gangster of destruction, so you know what's going down. And when the drive-by's coming, then you better hit the grind. Cause when your body hits the canvas, then your head is knocked out. Who is in the house? Who is in the house? It's the gangster of destruction, so you know what's going down. And when the drive-by's coming, then you better hit the grind. Cause when your body hits the canvas, then your head is knocked out. Fight with Adrian Whisper is like a fight with the devil, because when he's dealing with you, you cannot get on this level. Fight with Adrian Whisper is like a fight with a king. It's like a fight with an army. They got the tanks and everything. He's leaving bruises and stitches, possibly leaving you crippled. Cause when he sets up the table and sends you straight through the middle. 6 sadistic free, beat that ass with a light bulb. Leave a piece of glass embedded in the back of your skull. Who is in the house? Who is in the house? It's the gangster of destruction, so you know it's going down. And when the drive-by's coming, then you better hit the ground. Cause when your body hits the canvas, then your ass is knocked out. Who is in the house? Who is in the house? It's the gangster of destruction, so you know it's going down. And when the drive-by's coming, then you better hit the ground. Cause when your body hits the canvas, then your ass is knocked out.